Hello everyone, today we're learning Bobekame Daf Kuf Dalet. Said the Gemara about 8 lines down, Lo iten lo libnoi v'lo lishluchoi. So we said that when someone steals and makes a shvur, that he doesn't owe anything, and then he's moida, he has to go all the way to Modai or to New Zealand to pay him back. And he shouldn't give it to the son or the shliach of the guy who stole it off. He has to give it to him. Itmar, we learned shliach shoso be'edim. So what the case? Reuven has money by Shimon, and now he sent Levi with Edim. He told Levi in front of Edim, I'm sending you as a shliach to go to Shimon to collect this money. What's the din? Is these, now Shimon gave him the money to Levi to give it to Reuven, and on the way something happened, the oinus happened, and it got lost, it got robbed or something. So did Shimon pay back Reuven or not? So Rav Chisda ma'ave shliach. It's considered a shliach, and therefore once Shimon gave Levi the money, that's it, he's potter, he paid back. Rabbi Amar lo have a shliach. No, it's Shimon who's sending Levi as a shliach, and therefore if he doesn't get to Reuven, the debt hasn't been paid. Rav Chisda have a shliach. Why? Why did Reuven send Levi with Edim? Because the Leiku Brushus say that once Levi gets it, that's it. It becomes Reuven's and Shimon's potter. Rabbi Amar lo have a shliach. Ochika Oma. This is what he's saying basically to Shimon when he's sending Levi with Edim. Inish me'emnehu. Levi, this guy, he's trustworthy. Isamches. If you trust him that he'll do the job properly, smoich. You could trust him. If you want to send of him the money, you could send it by him. But until it doesn't get to Reuven, it's not considered that he paid off his debt. Nan, we learned in the Mishnah, someone who borrowed the parah, v'shilcha biad b'noi, and he sent it with his son, biad avdoi, or with his slave, biad shluchoi, or with his messenger, or biad b'noi, or in the son, or biad avdoi, the slave, biad shluchoi, the messenger shel shoyer, of the guy who borrowed it. So Shimon's borrowing a cow from Reuven, and Reuven sent the cow or with his son, slave, messenger, or with Shimon's son, slave, messenger. Umeisa. And now the cow died on the way and he never got to Shimon, potter. So Shimon, who's normally chayv b'ointzim, will be potter, because he never got to him yet. Ahai shlucho yechidomi, the shliach, what are we talking about? What's the case when we said that even it's Suma shliach of Shimon who sent to get the cow? If there was no Edim that he sent him as a shliach, minoya dinan, how does Reuven give him the cow? How does he know that this guy is a messenger of Shimon? Eloi must be so be'edim that Shimon sent him, and he sent him in front of Edim, so the Edim are made that this is Shimon's shliach, v'ktoni the potter, and it says it's not doesn't be coming to the rishus of Shimon until he comes to him. So we could see kasher Rav Chisda, it's a kasher of Chisda, because l'chayra lefir of Chisda, if he did it be'edim, it straight away comes into the rishus once the shliach gets it. So we'll see here, by a shoyel, Shimon should be chayiv straight when his shliach gets it. L'chayra it's a kasher of Chisda. Says the Gemara, Omar Rav Chisda, like Rav Chisda says about something else to answer, b'schira v'likitoi. It's talking about his sochir lekitoi. What does that mean? Schira means someone who works for Shimon. So therefore Reuven knows to send it with him because he works for Shimon. And lekitoi is his housemate, lefi the first pshat in Rashi, or someone who collects his tvor. Basically, but it's someone that Shimon works with, so therefore Reuven knows to send it with him, and it's not talking about where he appointed him with Edim. So there's no kasher of Chisda. Rav Chisda only spoke where he made the shliach of Edim. Ochinami, also by us, we'd say it's Toma b'schir v'lekitoi. Like Rav Chisda said over there, we'll say it also over here. Knan, we learned in our Mishnah, he can't give not the son of the guy who got stole off him the money, not his messenger. The messenger, what we're talking about, if the Nigzal never made this guy with Eidim a shliach, and how does the Ganev, the Gazin, know to give it to him? He's a random person. Why are you giving it to him? Elolav, it must be that the Nigzal also Eidim. He made this guy a messenger of Eidim. And it's a kasher of Chisda. Why can't you give it to him? The fear of Chisda, when you make a messenger of Eidim, once a messenger gets the money, it's already as if the Meshaleach received the money. So why can't I give it to the Shaliach? If he made the Eidim, once I give it to him, it's like I gave it to the Nigzal. Why is it not called the Good Hashava? The Gemara of Chisda, here of Chisda said his case, it's talking about someone who works for him or his roommate, and he knows to give it to him. But it's for sure no Eidim, and therefore it doesn't become the Nigzal's until he gets it to his hand. And that's why if you give it to the Shliach or to his son, he's not doing a good Hashava until it comes to the Nigzal personally into his hand. If you do with Eidim, once he gives it to him, it's called a good Hashava. Says the Gemara, what would be the din if he did it actually with Eidim? Really will be considered a good shliach, and you can give it to him, and you'll be potter from doing a shava to modai. Added Tony Sefer, in the Sefer it says, you're allowed to give it to a shliach bezdin, and you yoitza a shava with that. Let's say a chilik in a shliach, that there is a case where you could give it to the shliach. Shliach shall so beidim. B'didei, let's just see here. B'medvorim amurim. I'm going like the Bach. B'medvorim amurim b'shliach shelo so beidim. Aval shliach shel so beidim ochinami da b'shliach. And we could say a bigger chiddush that sometimes you could give it to the shliach of the Nigzal. Why did the Mishnah only tell you that you could give it to Bezdin? Sometimes you could give it to the shliach. So the Gemara Amru loy psikelei. It's not fixed. It's not fixed to say it that way. Why? Shliach Bezdin, if you give it to the Shliach Bezdin, lo yishno so Nigzal, lo yishno so Gazlin. Doesn't matter who appointed the Shliach Bezdin. If it's a Gazlin or the Nigzal, it's good. Ave Shliach, it's a good Shliach. Psikele, that's why it says that case. But Shliach shall so be'edim, the Chio so Nigzal hu dav a Shliach. Only if the Nigzal made him a Shliach, it's considered a good Shliach. But so Gazlin, if the Gazlin appointed him, lo yav a Shliach, it's not considered a Shliach. I mean, it's not called a Shova until it comes to the hands of the Nigzal. Therefore, lo psikele, it's not a fixed case, it's not in every case, and therefore we don't want to say that. We prefer to say something that doesn't matter who made him a Shliach, is good enough. And it's this, the Rav Chizda said is not like this Tana, the Tanya. We learned in the Brayser of Shimon Lo Zoima, Shliach Bezdin, where it said in the mission like he paid back the Shliach Bezdin, and then you potted from Ashova, it's like he gave it to the Nigzal. Said the Brayser, shall so Nigzal. It's only if the Nigzal made him, V'lo so Gazlin. Oy, so Gazlin, or that the Gazlin made him, and then he received it, but only after he received. If the Gazlin made him, only if he received it, then it's called a good Ashava on your potter. So therefore, it doesn't fit in Rav Chizda, because Rav Chizda said the whole reason why the Mishnah says Shliach Bezdin is because it doesn't matter who made him, once he gave it to him, your potter. And here in the Brayser it says that only if the Nigzal made the Shliach your potter once he gave it to him, but if the Gazlin made it, until it doesn't come to the Nigzal, you won't be potter. Said the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Loza Damer Tavai, Shliach shall so be'edim. If Reuven made Eidim to collect the money from Reuven, if Reuven made Eidim and sent a Shliach of Eidim to collect the money from Shimon, Ave Shliach. Once Shimon gives him the money, Shimon's potter is as if he paid Reuven already. And if you have a kasha from our Mishnah, like what we asked on Rav Chizda, the Lechor in our Mishnah, it says our Shliach is not good. It's talking about b'mamtzi lo shliach. It's talking about, we have another teretz, b'mamtzi lo shliach, meaning the Omalei, that the Nigzal told the shliach, is lizuzi gabe ploini. This guy stole of me money, and he has money of his by me. V'lo yikom eshad elohu, and he's not sending it to me. Ischazilei, go show yourself and tell him, maybe you want to send money with me. Maybe he's not sending it because he doesn't have someone to send it with. And therefore, he didn't point him with Eidim. He just tells, the Nigzal tells this guy, go to the Gazlan and tell him, if you want to go, if you want, I'm going to New Zealand, I could do a message for you. And if he wants, he could send the money. But he didn't point him with Eidim that once the Shliach gets the money, he should receive it. And it's Keilu the Nigzal got the money. Inami, also you could say the answer now Mishnah, like Rav Chisda answered, Beschur lekitoi, somewhat I didn't do with Eidim, and how does he know to send it with him? Because it's someone who works with him or his roommate or his flatmate. Omar Rav Yehuda Omar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, Ei meshalchi mois b'dyukni. It means that if Reuven gave Shimon a pikodon, and now Reuven sends to Shimon, I want my pikodon back, and he gives him a dukni, means he gives him simonim. He says this is and this was the pikodon, and he signed to him a letter saying, go to him, and it says in the letter, go, this guy is you could give him the money to pay to give me back the pikodon, give this guy the gold watch back. Even if Eidim are written on the shtar saying that he could go and he's a shliach of Reuven to collect the pikodon, you can't give it to him. And if you give it to him and he gets lost on the way, he has to pay again. Rabbi Yochanan argues, he said, Omar, im Eidim chasumim, if there is Eidim that are written on this document, Meshalchim, you could send with that guy, and that's it. Once you give it to him, you're potter. Amri said the Gemara, Lishmuel, that you can't do it. My takante. What's a takana? How could you solve this issue? Because Lechora, Reuven wants to collect his pikodon from Shimon, and he himself can't go, and Shimon won't give it to any shliach lefi Shmuel, because it will be in the achrayas of Shimon until it gets to Reuven. Said the Gemara, Ki ha di Rav Abba. Like what Rav Abba did. Abba maski zuzi b'de Rav Yosef bar Chama. Rav Yosef bar Chama owed the money. Oma leile Rav Safra. Ba'adid the Ossis, when you come back over here, I say, can you bring me back the money that I'm owed? Ki ozal awesome, when he went over there, Oma le Rava Bray. Rava, his son, told him, Mikosav lechois kabalti. Did he write to you that once you receive the money, it's as if he received the money? Oma le loy. He said no. Yochi, so Rava told him, Zil Beresha, go back. He needs to write that when you receive the money, it's as if I received the money. Lasoif, at the end, Rava told him, Omalei, even if he wrote you to the shliach that when you get this money, it's as if I got the money, lav klumu. It's not considered. It doesn't help. Why? Until you get to the place to collect the money. Shochi Rav Abba. Rav Abba, who's owed the money to, will die. And Rav Abba's Yesoimim will leave Zoichen this money. Rav Abba lav klumu. It's not worth anything because Rav Abba is not the owner of the money. It's his Yesoimim. So the person won't want to give back the money. He'll say maybe Rav Abba died, and now it belongs to Yisoyim and I have to pay the Yisoyim, and the Yisoyim didn't write this Kabalti. What can I do? How do we solve this issue? So he said, Zil nikninu loch agav ara. Go to Rav Yosef. Go to Rav Abba, sorry. Go to Rav Abba, who's a Malva, and say to him, Nikninu agavara, let him be magnet to you this money, that will be your money, literally, agavara, and agavara, you could be koina metaltelim b'chol mokom shem, so it's your money, now it's your money, once you go to collect it, the guy is potter, because he paid back to who the money is owed to, because now it's your money. V'to'at, and you go, ktovlan is kabalti, when you go and take the money, write to them, show them that the money belongs to you, and write to them, I received the money, and that's it, they'll give you the money. Kihoder of Papa, like the story of Papa, Ave Masik Tracer Alfe Zuzi Bechuzoi. Bechuzoi owed him 12,000 zuz. Akninuni alele Rav Shmuel bar Abba, he was makne the money to Rav Shmuel bar Abba, agav asefer de beise, agav the entrance of his house. Ki also, when he came back with the money, nofak la'peh atuach. So Rav Papa was so happy that he got his money back, he went to welcome the shliach Shmuel bar Abba all the way to a place called Tavoch. He went out of the city to welcome him. He was so happy. So we said in the Mishnah that if he paid the Keren and he didn't pay the Chomish, for the Chomish you don't have to go until New Zealand to pay him back on that. Said the Gemara Alma, we could see Chomish Mamoina, who on Rashi explains that if it would be a knas, he wouldn't have to tell you that you don't have to go for the Chomish until Modai. Obviously for knas I don't have to go return it until New Zealand. So since the Mishnah tells you this Chiddush, Alamai it's Mamoina. V'imais, and if the Gazlin dies, and now the Yorshim, Mishamele Yorshim, the Yorshim have to pay this Chomish, because it's Mamoina, it's not Knosa of the father, you're potter, but Mamoina Yechai. But Nanami, we learned also in the Mishnah, Nosa Nesakara, and if he paid the capital of Venishba la Chomish, and then he made a Shvur on the Chomish, Arei Moisif Chomish al Chomish, you have to pay a fifth on the fifth that you're Koifa. Alma, what do we see? Chum Shamamoinahu. We could see that it's called Mammon, because if you're Koifa Knas, you don't have to pay Chomish on a Knas. We have also a brisa saying the same. Someone who steals from his friend, and he made a shvur that he doesn't owe him anything, and he dies. The Yershim have to pay not only the capital, also the fifth. So we could see that it's Mammon. But they don't have to bring the korban asham that normally a person has to bring when he makes a shvur, because that's already kapara, and the kapara is only on the father. Ask the Gemara, does the Yershim have to pay the fifth of their father? And I have a kasha, it says in the Brisa, Adain and Yoima, some Rashi explained that the beginning of the Brisa is B'teres Koyanim, Asher Gozal, that you have to give Chomish on what you stole. Al Gzelo Moisif Chomish, on your Gzela you have to pay Chomish, V'lo Al Gzelos Aviv. And if your father stole and made a shvur sheker, you don't have to pay chomish. So, said the Brisa, I might have think, Amosai, when is that? Einu mishalem chomish al gezel aviv. When don't you pay chomish on your father's gzela? Bisman shelo nishba loy uveloy aviv. When his father and the son didn't make a shvur about it. And the Rashba over here talks about, why would you ever think that in such a case you have to pay chomish? Chomish is only when you make a shvur. If no one made a shvur, you don't have to pay chomish. Ein Shom. Hu v'lo yaviv, if he made a shvur that he doesn't need to pay, but his father never made a shvur, or aviv v'lo hu, or his father made a shvur and he lied, but he never made a shvur. Hu v'aviv both made a shvur l'sheker to say that they don't owe the money. Minayin, how do you know that any of these cases you still don't have to pay chomish because the father's dead? Talmud loy ma'asher gozav v'asher osak. It says in the pasuk that you stole and you did a shika. But who loy gozal, and the son didn't steal v'loy oshak. So chomish only the father pays, not the son. And we said before that even the son has to pay chomish. Omar Rav Nachman loy kasha. It's not kasha. Kancha oida, kancha loy oida. In the case where you say that the kid has to pay chomish, the son is talking about with the father when he was still alive, he was moida that he made the shvur l'sheker. So the chal, there was already a chiyuv of chomish on the father. Now he died, the kid has to pay it. And when you say that the kid doesn't have to pay, it's talking about where he wasn't moida that he made the shvur l'sheker. Ask the Gemara the obvious question: Ilo yehoida, if he wasn't moida that he made the shvur l'sheker, keren nami lo mishalem, he shouldn't even have to pay the capital because he doesn't agree that he lied. V'chitei ma'ochinami do lo mishalem, and if you're going to tell me, maybe it means that he doesn't pay chomish and not the keren. Since we're trying to understand if you have to pay chomish or not, it's understood. The current mishalem, obviously that the capital you do need to pay, the son needs to pay, and we're only talking about if the chomish he needs to pay or not. Tanya, and another raya, it says in the Brisa, and I might just say, Mosayu Mishalem, Keren al Gezel Oviv. Now we're talking about the capital. When does he have to pay the capital that his father stole? Bisman Shenishbo Huve Oviv. When him and his father made the Shvuah Sheker. Oviv Eloi Hu. If his father made the Shvuah and the son did make a Shvuah, Huve Eloi Oviv. The son made the Shvuah Sheker and not his father. Loi Huve Eloi Oviv. Not him and not the father made the Shvuah Sheker. Just the father stole, but no one made the Shvuah. Minayin. How do you know that the son has to pay back the Gzela? Talmud loima gzela v'oishe kavedo pikodin. Yesh Talmud. It says lots of words in the pasuk, and yesh Talmud, it means it's a drasha to tell you that the son has to pay the gezel of the father. V'yosef Rav Huna v'kol malo shmaitza. Rav Huna was sitting and said this brisa. Amalei Rabba Brei. Rabba the son of Rav Huna told him, what does it say in the brisa? Yesh Talmud karma, like we explained. I mean that it's a drasha to say that the son has to pay. Master, or yishtalmu karma mar, or did you mean to say it's a svara that you need to pay? Omalei, so he said to him, the father told him, Yesh Talmud kamina. Umilburei dekroy, in the Brisa it says, Yesh Talmud. That means there's a drasha to tell you that the son has to pay the gneva of the father. But anyway, the bottom line is that the son needs to pay the capital that the father stole. So, what's pshat over there in the Brisa that it says that the choymish not? If he wasn't moida, even the capital he doesn't have to pay. And over there in the Brisa it says that the capital you do need to pay. Amri, says the Gemara Teretz, my loy hoida, what does it mean that he didn't admit, loy hoida aviv oida bnoi? The father stole, and the father made the shvuah l'sheker that he doesn't owe anything, and he died, and he was never moida that he lied, and then the son was moida that he... Sorry, and the kid made the shvuah that he doesn't owe anything, and then he was moida that he made the shvuah l'sheker. So he only has to pay the capital, and not the choymish. That's pshat in that brisa. Says the Gemara Kasha, v'nechayv noi choymish hashvuah didei. If the kid made the shvuah and he owes the money, we should be mechayv him choymish because he was koyfer momen with a shvuah. Amri, the Gemara says a teretz, b'she'en gzela kayemes. It's talking about where the gzela is not in front of us anymore, and therefore, when the gzela is not in front of him, the kid doesn't have to pay the gzela of the father. Only when the gzela is still around. Ask the Gemara, b'she'en gzela kayemes afilu keren amiloi mishalem. Also, the capital he shouldn't need to pay. So, if he doesn't need to pay the capital, if he doesn't need to pay the capital and he made the shvuah l'sheker, he wasn't koif any moment because he wasn't chayv any moment. So the Gemara lo itzricha, we need it. The ikar achrayis nechosim. It's talking about where there is achrayis. I mean, where the father left fields, and when the father left fields, even if the keren is not over here, the gzela is gone. You still need to pay. The son needs to pay back. Ask the Gemara v'chi ikar achrayis nechosim. My havi. So what? It's a milval pay, milval pay negoy veloy minoyershim veloy mekuchos. Amri b'sha'amad bedin. So this part Rashi is not gurus. He has a few kashas on it, and he skipped this part of the Gemara because it doesn't make sense from other Gemaras. So Rashi's gurus only the next part. Iochi. Rashi's gurus at the top of Kufei Amud Aleph. Iochi. Afilu choymish nami mishalim. If it's talking about that there is a achrayis nechosim, and therefore you need to pay the gzela of the father even when the gzela is not be'en. So when the kid made a shvuah, they doesn't have to pay. He should also have to pay choymish because he's koyfer momen and he's made a shvuah on it. So the Gemara, because the whole shvuah was only made because there's a karka, and when you make a shvuah about karka, you don't have to pay choymish. So that's why the kid doesn't pay choymish on his shvuah, because it's a shvuah on karka. Rava Omar a different way. Here we're talking about like the wallet of his father, and in that there is a stolen item. So the father died and he stole an item, and this item he stole is by someone else. So, and now the son made a shvur that he doesn't owe this item. And we say you only have to pay the keren and not the choimish. Why not? Why is that? Keren mishalem do ise, because it's still existing, it's be'en, so you have to give it back to the nigzal. Choimish loy mishalem, the son doesn't have to pay choimish. The chi shtova, when he made the shvur, they doesn't owe the nigzal anything. Bekushto shtova, he made the shvur, a true shvur. Do loy aviyota, he never knew that the stolen item is existing still in someone else's house. He thought that there's no stolen item, or it never got stolen, or it got stolen but it doesn't exist anymore beyond, so he doesn't have to pay. So therefore it was a shvur l'sheker betos, so therefore he doesn't have to pay on the choimish. Masha'inkin, the keren, obviously it's still be'en, you have to give it back to the nigzal. So that's why how we answer the brisa, that we had a steer in the brisa, that one place it says that the kid has to pay choimish. So we're saying that's talking about where the father was moida. And the brisa where he says you don't have to pay, it's talking about where the son made the shvur l'sheker by mistake. Thank you, everyone.